are the Bajau Sea Nomads, a people scattered across the islands of the Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Known for their legendary freediving abilities. Some are said to be able to hold their breath for over 13 minutes and that they've literally evolved larger spleens in order to do so. These guys, though, they are like magic underwater. It's absolutely crazy. How long has he been diving for?
Sudah lebih 10 tahun.
Over 10 years.
10 years? They've lived for generations with the ocean as their only home, their only source of sustenance. But today, that world is disappearing. In many places, Bajau families have been pushed onto land, left to survive begging on dusty streets.
Robin's cousin Indesani says they are financially struggling and can't afford to buy food or medicine for children she says are sick.
But deep in the south of Sulawesi, there's a Bajau community that still lives almost entirely off the sea.
It's just one of those unbelievable ways of life.
An entire community of sea nomads still living the old school way, surviving entirely on octopus. Just octopus. And I had to see it for myself. So I'm headed down to one of the most beautiful places on earth to join the last remaining nomads trying to catch lunch the old school way.
We're about to head to Bongai Island, I think. And the mission is Bajau community, Bajau diving. We're going to see how they live, dive, hunt, and make some of the sort of like old school diving equipment that they're sort of famous for. Surabaya. Go Bangladesh.
When we pull up, our Bajau guides are already gearing up for the day. And right away, you can tell we are in the right spot. This place is like this Bajau floating village, but they've kind of filled in a lot of it with corals.
So if you can see these like foundations, it's a stilt house, and then they've just built this coral rock in around it. And they'll fill it in as well. So they'll do like an outer rock wall, as you can see here, with like the larger rocks, and then just fill it in with just live rock, coral, stone, whatever you'd call it. The ocean's still gonna come in and out underneath it. You still get that flow to allow these channels, but it's not just on stilts, it's just like a little bit more permanent. Interesting technique.
And they can roll the boats right up to their house. And that's exactly what's happening. The fishermen are kind of coming in from the morning's catch, some with octopus, some fish. They're even hauling wood. But they've all got one thing in common. Every single one is kitted out with these crazy looking Bajau octopus lures.
We're gonna see exactly how these Bajau make these octopus lures that are keeping this entire village afloat. This industry of octopus catching relies obviously first on being able to build the tools to catch the octopus. Let's see how it goes down.
Our guy starts out just grinding down a nail. It's going to become this makeshift hole punch.
So we have two of these absolutely gorgeous shiny shells. I ChatGPT'd what it was called. Hold on, my editor's kind of cut this bit out, I think. Tiger cowrie shells.
Then, with the shell in hand, he kind of smacks it around the opening. We've got to widen things up so we can get inside for knots and some steps that are coming later. Once that's open, that nail comes right into play, punching neat holes at key spots around the shell.
Alright guys, so this nylon line is just a huge part of this whole octopus build, this octopus bait build. It's used to sort of imitate the legs of, I think, a lobster, like a baby lobster, crayfish, as we'd call it in Australia.
Nylon lines, really thick mono, is then threaded through those holes and tied off on the inside.
And this large double loop is the mounting point. So you can imagine, you ain't gonna drop one of these octopus once you have it on the line. You're hand lining just some insane 100+ pound hand line, and you've got one of the most strong mounting points you can imagine.
To get the shell sinking steadily and able to bounce along the reef without washing around in the current, we need to add weight. So they grab some sort of sheets of lead and they begin the process of just breaking it down by hand.
I don't know where they get this. Maybe it's like melted down. Doesn't look all that sort of like store-bought.
That lead goes straight into the family wok, melted down over the open fire, and I mean, let's hope that they're retiring that thing after the use. Who knows? Next, small bits of coral just from out on the doorstep are collected and sprinkled into the shell to add a little bit more weight before the lead. Molten lead is carefully poured directly inside, and it hardens almost instantly on contact. Once the lead is set, any extra bits that have spilled out of the edge are just kind of snapped off by hand. We're pretty good to go. It's not flashy yet, but you've got this heavy ass lure.
This is going to punch through any kind of current. It is heavy as hell. There's a couple of chunks of coral in there, dead coral, a ton of lead, and yeah, there you have one loaded bait. But now for the rigging.
So we get to chopping up those spoons, turning them into these makeshift flashes. You get a couple of sections from the shaft, and then the head of the spoon is cut right down the middle as well. Each section of spoon gets a hole punched right in the top so that it can be attached to the lure later down the line. And while the guys are working away, other villagers are kind of doing the same as well. We take a quick walk around the village and you'll see these lures fashioned in all kinds of different ways.
This is like even a slightly different technique than we've seen. It's like a wooden lure. They've wrapped it in fabric, and then it has just this thick nylon fishing line to resemble the claws of like a lobster. Oh, there we go. So that's like the final version. And it's been like loaded with lead. It's hard to articulate just how heavy that is. And you can see how lobster-like that looks at this point. Like, that is really cool.
But back at our fishermen, barrel swivels are being attached to our flashes with a piece of wire. Of course, this is Indonesia, so absolutely nothing gets done without a steady stream of nicotine fueling all involved.
Alright guys, so we got like a ton of these flashes getting rigged up right now. I guess this is the final level of just like bling that this bait is gonna get. And tell me that's not gorgeous, come on. Some nice earrings right there. You just cut up a kitchen spoon. I love it.
While the flashes are being worked on, the hooks begin to be installed.
Various other gentlemen have come to help rig up for the trip. Just jump right in. No one asked them to, but you know, there's a job to get done, you get it done.
They're tied tight along those long, thick mono legs or antenna or whatever those things are supposed to be. It is pretty impressive stuff. Perfect knots, and hundreds of them, each one tied with incredible speed, and those hooks are not going anywhere.
I mean, that is one mean looking lure. We're going to do some damage to some octopus today, that is for damn sure.
And he uses a pair of pliers then to bend the tip of the nylon leg over, making just enough space to slide on the flasher. And once the flash is on, it gets crimped down and tied off. And the whole thing is just kind of mesmerizing to me. I've never seen a bait made that was so intricate and so beautiful, to be honest. They are absolute works of art, if you ask me.
Look at this bad boy. Is that not one crazy trippy lure or what? And somehow, just through dragging this thing along the reef bed, we're going to try and catch an octopus and eat it for lunch.
The finishing touch is a little super glue around the shell holes, and we're ready. We're ready to head out. So we catch some shut-eye, and the next morning, we hit the ramp. Our guys are waiting for us at the ramp, and I'm told we're heading out on the village's finest boat.
Today we are out off Bajau Island, which is a small island south of Sulawesi with the Bajau communities. I've fished, hunted once before with the Bajau people in the Philippines, and it was one of the most fascinating things I've ever done in my life.
And it doesn't take long before we're coming across octopus fishermen. Other boats are just already out here, and they're showing off their haul.
Alright guys, we've come across one octopus fisherman. He has caught an octopus and he's just sitting here crawling around in the boat. I think it's a good sign. At least they're still out here. At least that's kind of what we're hunting for, is scooting around these rocks. That looks like a pretty big octopus to me.
The next guy we run into's caught an octopus also. It feels like this stuff is everywhere. When we finally hit the spot, just packed with Bajau canoes, they're jigging up octopus left and right.
Hi guys, we just pulled up, we're asking around. These guys have got 2 in just an hour. The other bloke back there had 1. It just seems like there's so many octopus in this area. None of these guys are pulling up blank just yet.
It's just staggering to me how this one reef has so many of the creatures and how it sustains this whole ecosystem.
So it's when the current is like really strong, he used this one. But normally, like when it's like easy current, he will use this one.
How many octopus does he usually catch in one day?
But it really depends. Sometimes like on an easy day, you can get more than 10.
Whoa, 10 in a day? That's crazy. How much does he make per octopus?
Okay, so it's like usually it's 3 different size. So there's like 60,000 rupiah, 80,000, and then more.
Does he fish for other things or just octopus?
Just octopus.
All right, okay, let's let him go before we hit the shore.
All right, terima kasih ya Om ya.
Good luck today. I hope you catch 10 or more.
It's time to jump in and see how this technique goes down.
Oh, my goggles are so foggy already. They're brand new goggles, I didn't clean them off.
One of the guys that's jigging away in pretty shallow water is more than happy for me to trail along. He's basically submerging his head into the water while steering the canoe with one hand and carefully guiding the lure so that it doesn't bottom out in the reef and snag.
It's just kind of fascinating. I've never seen this, sort of being able to like live view a lure as it bounces along some of the most beautiful reef on earth.
And the current is so weak that every so often he'll dive in as well and just slowly swim along and paddle the canoe with him and just jig along by hand while floating on the surface. It is really cool to watch, but unluckily, we don't catch any octopus. Around then, rain starts to fall and we've got to head back. So our diver swims on over to another boat, buys an octopus off him and swims right on back. It is pretty cool to see and a pretty smart idea if you ask me. I was getting pretty hungry at that time. Once on shore, we stop at the same roadside stall that all the other fishermen are. It's the drop-off point where all the octopus are headed. Basically, the octopus are weighed up and paid out right there on the spot.
Once everyone's kind of cleared out, it's like 10 a.m. in the morning, rain has set in, it doesn't seem like there's any more divers, so they're just packing box after box of these octopus with ice.
The sheer number of octopus that are being pulled from just one reef every single morning is staggering. They're packing these coolers, ready to be shipped out. And everybody here knows the drill. You drop off your catch, you weigh up, and you cash out immediately. There's no bargaining or no delays. Everyone just seems to know the market price, and it's this simple rhythm. It's fast, and it's the way it goes.
Many of the Bajau here are now sort of moving a little bit inland, building concrete base, wooden top, tin roofs. It's almost like an old Australian house, to be honest. And they also have like these wooden cookhouses. But we're going to cook up one of those octopus and see how it goes down.
She's the one who will be cooked for the
Octopus. Perfect.
Yeah.
Somebody once told me, once you see an octopus swimming alive undersea, you will never again eat one because it is so beautiful. And I saw one, and I'm still eating these because they are delicious. Let's see how it goes down.
The cooking begins with a cut to the head, and inside the ink sacs are then quickly removed.
Guys, I've never seen an octopus ink sac before. Look at that thing. Isn't that crazy?
She then gives the octopus a thorough wash, scrubbing away all the slime and leftover ink until it's clean and shiny. A wok of water has already been set to boil, and now that the octopus has been cleaned, it's kind of just dropped in to boil away. And then she starts laying out the ingredients: chilies, garlic, shallots, ginger. This is going to be used to make a sort of sauce or marinade for the octopus. Everything gets sliced into smaller pieces and dropped into a stone mortar. A bit of salt is added, And then she grinds everything away into this fragrant paste, this just gorgeous looking sauce. Finally, fresh tomato was sliced as well, adding just a touch of sweetness and acidity. And the octopus that's been boiling away for a good 20 odd minutes now is all puffed up. The skin's turned this deep reddish color, ready for the next step. On the floor, there's a chopping board, a knife, and a bowl of water that are all set up. She takes the boiled octopus, begins cutting it down into smaller, bite-sized pieces. And then she gives the pieces a real good wash, yet again rinsing off any residue before they're ready to be cooked yet again with the sauce. The wok is set on the fire, she adds more wood, then leans in to really fire up those flames, just old school style. A splash of oil goes into the wok, and then in goes that freshly ground paste, sizzling away instantly, and the aroma, insane. A bit of MSG, why not? A few pandan leaves get mixed in, some local herbs that release this really fragrant aroma, and finally the octopus pieces are tossed in, mixed with that rich paste and the herbs, and everything gets stir-fried to lock in all that flavor. A sprinkle of turmeric flour goes in to add a bit more color and depth to the dish, and just like that, we're done. And whilst it might seem like she's done, there's one more surprise. She grabs this weird ginger flower looking thing and starts pulling out the seeds inside. It's definitely not something you see every day. And to be honest, I've never seen this ingredient before. It was pretty cool. Finally, she throws in some chilies, a pinch of salt, grinds everything together into a fiery mix. A splash of water goes in, and just like that, we have the ultimate Bajau sauce ready to rock.
People, we have one of those many octopus that are filling this village every single morning that these divers, these sort of lure fishermen, these jiggers, whatever you want to call them, are hauling in this village, this entire village really, and a surprisingly big one is running on octopus. And because of that, they developed these various Bajau ways of cooking and eating. Alright, so guys, this is some kind of ginger flower, I think is the English name, and it has the most incredible little micro seeds inside this. We've got chili dip in there. I imagine there's some citrus. We've got just some straight up boiled octopus. I didn't see them beating it or massaging it or anything like that. So perhaps it's rather rubbery, but I mean, that's often the texture that they're going for here in Asia. And then in this one, we have this deep yellow, I imagine turmeric and lemongrass. It looks like soup, but I'm gonna give myself a spoonful of this. But first, we're gonna go for one of these straight up octopus chunks, and we're gonna dip it in this magic sauce. Oh my God, wow. That is an overload of citrusy flavor, spicy as hell. Oh, and then that incredibly bitey, chewy octopus. I still get that seafoody flavor, that ocean taste. This sauce is obviously where all of the flavor is. That is out of this world. I'm gonna try to get a little bit less chili in there, even for me, who's kind of like pretty attuned to chili. A bit of octopus tentacle right here. Going for the bite. That sauce is crazy good. I've never had anything quite like that. I think if this was like boiled for longer, pressure cooked, massaged, it'd be a little bit more Western friendly. But flavor wise, this is ridiculously good. Now for this yellow concoction, there's got to be some turmeric in that. Now those are some way more familiar flavors. This tastes to me like you would cook op in Vietnam. It has this real lemongrassy, turmeric-y base. It's not that chili, almost like tomatoiness to it. I've got to hand it to this lady. She is like a tremendous cook. If you made this a little bit more tender and more suited to the Western palate for texture, then this would not be out of place in any restaurant. That is absolutely out of this world. And it's just in this local village off the south of Sulawesi. That is just absolutely amazing. Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi. Ronaldo.
Ronaldo. Okay. Bit of a mind change there. Wasn't very convicted. We have these huge trevally ponds because the houses now are built on top of sort of old coral rock. It's semi-permeable. The tide will still come in and out and change. And so they can just keep fish in between the houses. A huge amount of trevally in there, a couple of turtles, just wild. It's a beautiful turtle.